reset between this series or this season or the last season in RLCSX, and it has never done it. And G2 trying to be the first, and they look to be the most commanding at the moment. As we'll see how they start off this series. FaZe, they've had some time to think about it, and if they go back to the way I think the way game 1 was, they'd have a much better chance. They don't want to let G2 get too comfortable. I think that's really where the series got out of hand. When G2 got comfortable and adapted, that's where FaZe really started to crumble.
And we'll see if FaZe can build something up. Like you said, crumbling under the pressure in those moments. Tons of double commits. Defensively, it was not the same performance that they had when they took G2 down earlier in the event. And that's a nice infield pass, but the shot right at AJ. JNAP's backward pass, another double commit, but Typical able to clear it out. Gets demoed, first killer, light touch to the side. Chicago jumping over first killer. The 50, Atomic, light bounce on the goal line. JNAP's will tuck it in. And my, oh my, the aggression from G2 and JNAP's in Chicago. Can it be stopped?
Yeah, I don't know. That was actually a great touch by first killer to keep that one. The momentum going out of the net, still hitting that post is very tough to do. And to get that one away and not just instantly put it into your own net was about as good as he was going to get there. And still G2 was all over them, or were all over them, as FaZe find themselves in the hole early.
Chicago racing to the ball, launching it towards net. JNAP's flipping to the ball, getting the redirect.
He did it with the side of his car too. This wasn't even the perfect touch. It was just off the side of his car. AJ was there to get the touch as well. Incredible read from JNAP's. He gets even better.
Free flip redirect from JNAP's. Now is when you start to worry. That shot going to be wide as well, or too high. Nice pass. AJ shot off the mark. FaZe Clan can't seem to catch a break.
What do you do if you're FaZe Clan? I mean, seriously, with the way that JNAP's has played, well, maybe they can get one. As that one goes wide, that one's picked up as well. And G2 somehow come out with it, but they have just been a different level. We've talked about it multiple times. It hasn't been the most pretty regional from G2, but so far here into the final, they have just looked like the better team against FaZe. And with those types of plays, I really don't know what to do if you're FaZe.
And Atomic dodging the bump, gets the 50, pinching it out wide. FaZe has had numbers in so many situations in this series and have not been able to capitalize on that numbers advantage.
And again, I do think it comes down to the quality of shot, because the setup's there. Here's another one, but Atomic turns it away. AJ, he's got to get back to this one. That touch a bit too heavy, but there's been a lot of great setups from FaZe. Again, don't think that it's been particularly poor from FaZe at all in the previous series. I know they got swept, but there's a lot of great gameplay coming out from them. They're just missing that last piece of the puzzle when it comes to their offense to kind of clutch up against this G2 defense.
And you wonder if that last piece of the puzzle fell in between the couch cushions or maybe down a vent. You know, it's FaZe. They've got to find it, and it doesn't seem like they're getting much closer, especially in this first game of the second series. They've had look after look, but haven't been able to close it out.
And it really is the way G2's playing right now. That's the difference. Defensively, offensively, it seems like everything's working. Everything's on the same page. And that's not to say that FaZe doesn't have that or don't have that, but rather, obviously, the conversion rates are much higher for G2 at the moment.
Atomic had no boost, but still boosting or rotating across FaZe's backboard, being an option for the redirect. Gets the stop down to the corner. JNAP's trying to stay behind the ball. AJ being patient. Lob upfield. JNAP's the outlet. JNAP's getting demoed by Typical in the deep FaZe half. Chicago, light boost. JNAP's helping out. Doesn't get the double tap, but it leaks out for Atomic. Atomic staying in the play, trying to slow down FaZe.
Yeah, everyone backed off from G2. Final minute upon us. FaZe need to find their first here in game one, and it could come. AJ, does he have it? He does pass the Atomic on the near post, and FaZe have life.
And it was an impressive touch from Chicago, but then here you see the mix-up. Atomic in reverse. JNAP streaking across. I think if JNAP takes that hit, the ball's cleared out of harm's way.
Certainly into the corner there if JNAP were to hit it. He was the better man to take it, but under pressure, this is what FaZe does. In the chaos, they thrive, and when a team starts to crumble defensively, FaZe, they sit circling and then they bite. And that was certainly a moment for AJ to come in and make a difference. And here they come again.
The drop down.
Drops it down, and a backflip from AJ. That's another
did he backflip or did Atomic get a bump?
He backflipped there as he approached it. Atomic might have got a piece of him as well, but AJ certainly pulled off. I think he was going to get blocked. He didn't want to just get dunked downfield, I suppose. But still some time left here for FaZe. That's a great shot. It comes out to Typical. Tough angle. Puts it on target. Tied up with 17 seconds to play.
In FaZe, the pressure was mounting. You could see it shot after shot. 2 go. Chicago with the block, but Typical getting around the ball. And FaZe certainly feel like they earned that one.
And great work from FaZe, keeping the pressure on. Making G2 think about their defense a little bit more. And with 10 seconds left now, looking to steal this game one. It could be first killer. It's too high. Typical lets it go. AJ lost the ball. It's a foot race back the other way. And JNAPS can't find the mark. First killer gets back in time.
Oh, that was a roller coaster of emotions right there. It seemed like FaZe was going to win it in the final seconds. And then JNAPS, if he had enough boost, if he had even 20 boost, he's getting to that ball and he's scoring.
And for FaZe, that's not a great touch either. They are here on the rotation to clean up, but for FaZe, that was a huge blunder. They're lucky that that one ended into overtime there. We're all reset. First 20 seconds come and gone in overtime. Atomic's not going to get their big clear for first killer, and a welcomed one here for FaZe.
Typical slowing down, getting a first touch. It pinches off the ceiling. Chicago booms it downfield. Atomic low boost. AJ against JNAPS, it hits off the ceiling. Chicago's got to buy time. Doesn't do so, but Atomic gets back. The rebound of first killer. And FaZe Clan finally get a game win in the grand finals.
What a battle here in the first match. We were talking up G2 so much, and FaZe with the comeback. They were down by 2, 3 straight. Had to take them to overtime as well. A testament to FaZe Clan's resolve here in game 1.
Oh, that was quite the ending. I mean, even in regulation, quite the ending. But that last save from Atomic, it was heading to the corner. And you wonder if JNAPS just lets that go to the corner. Yeah. If G2 could have gotten away with their life in that moment.
Look at these shots. 17 shots for FaZe to the 6 on G2. So many games where FaZe are just completely blowing G2 out of the water in the shooting department. Obviously, G2 definitely putting away more of those chances, but FaZe, they are just so good at generating shot after shot, even if they're half chances, and putting that pressure on the defense.
And it finally worked. They've been fighting for these leads so much against G2, who has seemed unstoppable. But finally, FaZe Clan finding that little window and making it work. And this might be the start of something new for FaZe. Sometimes you just got to get over that first hurdle before you're off to the races. And maybe that's FaZe in this series.
And again, we've talked about FaZe not putting away a lot of their chances, but I also think that's because of G2's defense. When you look at the high shooting games for FaZe, there's also a lot of saves on the G2 side as well. They have just been a brick wall in most of these cases, and so you can't criticize FaZe too much because it is, speaking to the G2 defense as well.
Atomic wall dashes, trying to pick up some pace. Typical will force JNAPS to not make the best touch. Chicago pass off the sidewall. JNAPS back down to Chicago, but now the sprint is on. Typical going for the block, but Atomic saw it coming.
I think that was actually a good play there from Typical. Atomic didn't have a lot of boost. The block was a safe play, especially with that ball just out of the head of the nose of Typical. G2 mounting an attack here. That one's placed to the right side, but an easy save for AJ.
We've seen a lot of low boost plays from Atomic. Atomic, very aggressive positioning. G2 scoring some impressive goals as well. Think back to that JNAPS pre-flip. Does G2 have more of that, or will FaZe finally show some life.
And life they need between the last game and the last series. FaZe have led for exactly 4% of this entire series. This set 1 minute. 1 minute and 18 seconds out of the 31 minutes we've played.
Oh. And the lead will go right to G2. You saw the panic, Corelli. Typical jumping up early. AJ, see ya.
Oh my. And that's a painful one for FaZe because everyone had a decent look at that ball and no one was able to at least just get in front of it to prevent the shot.
Do you think AJ thought that ball was going in? It looked like he was trying to get behind it, but he was in net.
He might have. It's tough to tell. I mean, especially with FaZe, with the way they throw bodies across the net of their goal, it's tough to say if it's a miscommunication or a misread half the time.
Tough break for FaZe. G2. They find themselves with an early lead. JNaps slowing down the play, gets blocked hard by Typical. Chicago collecting on his own backboard. First touch. Stopped by First Killer. Typical slowing down the play. AJ right towards net. And now beat out. First Killer jump for that ball. What will Atomic do? Pitch pass to the middle. Chicago in a 2v1 situation. But AJ loses the flick.
Oh, man.
And that's going to kill the counterattack.
And that one seems like a botched play there from AJ. Had some time. I don't think he realized how much time he had. He kind of rushed the touch there in the midfield. But there was a chance there, as you were pointing out, James, a 2v1. But I think G2 also got back pretty quickly there. But at best, it was going to be a 2v2.
I mean, if AJ brings that right to net, Chicago, he's not going to hesitate. He goes for that upper corner. As we take another look, First Killer, you know he wanted to bounce that up, not back to the middle.
Wow. What a shot from Chicago. 65 miles an hour from that range. And he is 2 for 2 in this game. His shooting percentage has got to be crazy between these two series. He has been so accurate for G2 and so lethal, whether it's cleaning up or shots like that, just taking him on his own accord. And G2 now comfortably in the lead.
JNaps, how much boost does JNaps have? Are there any pads in the air? He kept going, and now Atomic. Flip reset behind JNaps. Chicago there. Has JNaps in support, but Typical knocking it down to the side. First Killer booms it towards the G2 net. AJ gets a piece. Back to First Killer. Infield pass. Typical shot not on target. Another great pass from FaZe that just doesn't
AJ
find
has
the
no
shot.
boost.
JNaps threatening. Chicago didn't make contact, and FaZe get away without conceding another goal, but now finally putting it in. Typical. The solo play, unassisted from end to end. FaZe needed that to get back into it.
Great touches here from Typical, knowing that he could keep possession, popping that one up and buying himself some space in the sky. G2 just really couldn't react because when he beats the first man, G2 kind of expected that a tackle would happen there on the sideline, and Typical very cleanly came out with that ball. A little unexpected. Now AJ threatening. Can he dunk it through? He can't. FaZe once again battling back.
And you can't count FaZe out. FaZe, dare I say it, Corelli, used to playing from behind in this series. It's nothing new to them. And they got the win in game 1. Can they do it again?
They certainly can. They're only down by one
nice
time.
Pass.
AJ, can he get over it this time? He can. It's on target. Chicago with the save off the post. It was halfway in. FaZe just can't break through G2 as that one almost gets by First Killer. 50 seconds left. And First Killer looking for Typical. The shot on target's weak, and Atomic will clear it away.
And you're going to want to look at that one again on the replay. Another shot.
Whoa.
That one's tipped and goes out. FaZe now getting a demo. AJ to Typical, and that play's broken up by Atomic. FaZe punch after punch.
Whoa.
How much stamina does G2 have on defense?
Certainly being tested. 20 seconds left now. FaZe, they've been all over him here in the final 45 seconds or so. Now Typical. He's got to get downfield. He's beat to the ball. Chicago got there first. AJ there to clean up, and now Typical, he's popping it on, but it gives the ball away. I don't think anyone from FaZe could catch up. JNaps looking to clear this one out. Dangerous one across the G2 side. But Chicago there to push it downfield. JNAP's just trying to get it down, but it's landed in the lap of first killer. Still dangerous. Chicago, they just have to get it to the ground, and FaZe are fighting for every inch, but G2 finally come out on top.
Wow. That last play, that play from AJ, where he's going for the double tap, he got so close, but also I would love to see it on the replay again. And I'm certainly going to go back and look, but if he just left it, I think someone else could have just slammed that in. G2 was beat. They were beat. They were waiting for the shot. They were not meeting that ball. They were going to have to just go for the save instead of breaking up the shot.
And you can see where FaZe thrive, and you can see what FaZe does against the G2 defense. The G2 defense is quite strong, but FaZe, they can find little holes in the defense, and they've poked it through a few times. It's really that conversion rate that they need to pick up because they had the opportunities there. I just want to highlight for Chicago, between this series and the last series where they 4-0'd FaZe, he's shooting 40% through 6 games. That's insane.
40%. That is what FaZe needs. That's what they're missing because you pair the passing and opportunity setups from FaZe with Chicago, and maybe that's the new world-class super team if you could somehow merge them in. But I can't take any credit away from G2. They've been having those same type of setups. We've been seeing them going for the passing plays, and they're just making the stops, even defensively. Under the immense pressure from FaZe, getting the lightest taps, the touches, keeping FaZe out of the net. It has been a very strong defensive series, but Corelli, if FaZe, like you said, can just figure out that shooting percentage issue that they're having, if they can start being accurate with their shots and they have the same exact level of opportunities, they would be the favorite.
Oh, absolutely. And just to give you more context, the league average in North America is just under 22%. So he's shooting twice as high as other North American pros here in a grand final against an extremely strong FaZe clan. Insane.
And now in game 3, first minute, melting off the clock, we see G2 in FaZe's half. Atomic with the challenge. Typical, a pop-up. Typical going downfield. We did see an unassisted solo play from Typical last game. Atomic getting back in the way. JNAPS pinching this to the FaZe corner. Gets the boost steal as well. First killer dropped down to Typical, just out of reach. There's a demo as well. Chicago out of boost, but stays on the play. And now it's back down. JNAPS will back pass to keep possession.
Back and forth as we would expect. This one comes out to Typical, low boost. And he's had a lot of those shots where he's just so close to the net that it's an easy block for G2. And that's where a lot of the shot tally kind of goes up for FaZe as Chicago wants to push it through off the back wall. Atomic got a little bit of boost here, but not enough to make a big play. First killer had him right all the way.
2 dive from FaZe. Atomic camped out in front of net.
He's there.
Atomic will put it in. 2 defenders from FaZe go yet again, Corelli. The double commits have been brutal for FaZe.
1 pad is all Atomic needed. He saw his chance to turn on that ball. I mean, not a lot of players would want to turn on the far post of a play on the opposition side with no boost. A lot of players would just want to get back, but Atomic, high game IQ to know that that ball had the opportunity, or for him to have the opportunity to touch it and put it onto the net, even with no boost.
I wouldn't be surprised if Atomic has spent more time on FaZe's backboard than FaZe has spent being in the lead.
I wouldn't either, honestly, with the way this series has gone, especially with G2 in the lead, but Typical quickly shuts me up and ties it up for FaZe.
And what a spike. And there's the passing play attempt. It's broken up, but a strong bounce off the sidewall sets up a chance for Typical, and he nailed that shot.
And those are the shots that FaZe need, and they really need someone like Typical to put them away like that. High power to one of the corners, away from the defenders, and not let G2 get up. Atomic, by the way, just pre-jumped that one.
Oh, double demo.
Typical read it, but now Typical low boost, pokes it over JNAP. Chicago on the goal line makes the save. Still FaZe trying to threaten, but it'll be cleared out by G2.
A heroic effort from Typical, and Typical beating out another defender, late flip. making things awkward. Rebound. It's an infield pass. It's just out of reach of first killer, but Typical taking over. Now off the ceiling, has AJ in front of net. The drop down pass.
Whoa.
AJ puts it in, and FaZe Clan are on top.
The offense coming alive for FaZe. This is what we've been talking about. The setups have been just so good from FaZe. They're finally converting. The pass to the back post is perfect for AJ to put it home. FaZe finally into the lead.
And that might make the G2 team, the T2 fans, everyone watching at home hesitate for just a moment. FaZe, they got blown out in the first series, but this series seems to be different. AJ, the delay, but JNaps sniffed it out.
Again, some great work from FaZe, using the width of the field to their advantage in a lot of these passes. 2 go, though, for FaZe. First killer almost landed on top of it. Typical has to be careful as the third man here, and does buy time for his teammates to get back. And now Chicago, space to work with. Tries to get by first killer, won't happen. He'll take out AJ, though. But Typical back the other way. Can he dunk Atomic? He does get a piece of it, but it goes wide.
And Typical has been going for that quite a bit. Just getting back behind the ball, playing the 50. JNaps with a demo.
What a touch.
What's he gonna do? Ball ends up getting away from him. Chicago staying behind the ball. AJ upfield. First killer waiting for his chance to jump in the play. Will hit it high off the backboard. The 50 will bounce off the ceiling. Chicago up to Atomic, but Atomic can't get that ball. Atomic. You saw him wanting to go for that double tap, but AJ right on the backboard waiting for it.
Yeah, FaZe did a good job to lock down the backboard. No boost here for AJ. Still trying to look as threatening as possible. Typical comes through. That one's going to sneak by. Where was the G2 defense?
This is a classic miscommunication. Even from this point on, you see JNaps leaving that ball thinking someone's going to go. Chicago thinking JNaps had it. JNaps thinking Chicago had it. And neither one of them did.
They had boost too. You're right. Miscommunication there. Neither of them really jumped at it. Neither of them even used boost towards the ball. They really thought each other had it. And FaZe, the benefactor here, up 2 goals, 45 seconds left, looking to take the lead in this series.
AJ hunting for an insurance goal. Ball hit upfield. Typical hard to the sidewall. Chicago back out to JNaps, but first killer first to it. Low boost pass. Hard hit off the backboard. Typical will demo Chicago. And now Typical, an air dribble out. Typical has been doing so well, keeping possession and taking that ball into G2's half, setting up his team on the attack. AJ, did he get his flip back? It looks like he did. Wasn't able to shoot it, but it didn't really matter. G2, the defensive miscommunication, but I think more the story is that FaZe Clan is finally starting to make their passing plays work.
Absolutely. You have to give the credit to FaZe here because the offense was what was really peaking. The difference between this particular game than really, I think, almost any of the other games was getting that third man involved and putting quality shots away from the defenders of G2, not letting G2 make miraculous saves, make it no doubt that that shot is going in, and some great plays coming out from Typical, AJ as well. And that's exactly where FaZe want to be. And if you can have a game like this with first killer only putting up 182 points, you're in a good spot if you're FaZe.
No doubt about it. And Typical is a player that if they're playing well, FaZe is incredibly scary. You saw the precision shooting. This is not something new. We've seen Typical do this before in his MVP season. He is such a dynamic player and a player who, when he can get airborne and have a lane on net, can make shots happen. And we saw that in that game. Typical, massive performance. And now FaZe Clan, not only have they been able to lead in games, now they lead in the series. G2 going to be battling back from behind.
And this is a great spot for FaZe. They only have to win one of these series. They're in the lead here. And maybe looking for more. Typical almost getting a second touch off the back wall. G2, though, eats it up. Atomic wants to pass across, and he ended up just having to beat the next man instead. As FaZe there to clean it up.
AJ getting back behind the ball. Atomic dodging the bump. will lob it down. First Killer with the catch, flicking by one. JNap's awkward, leaves space for First Killer, who wanted to go for the air bump. AJ, the fake. Low on boost, will leave it for Typical, who helps out. Chicago gonna get the redirect. It's gonna go off the ceiling, off the backboard, but it is read by the FaZe defense.
Yeah, well done from FaZe, staying disciplined and guarding that backboard, which have been criticized before, or which has been criticized before, I should say, as Typical now just got one to beat. Great touch to AJ, tough shot though. That one's going in off the touch of the last man from G2, and AJ's gonna get credit.
You know, FaZe, they came close. AJ, he'll still get credit for it.
Oh,
it was
JNap
going to be posting out. First Killer was barreling in. JNap
was
had
going
to
in.
go for it. He had to go for it.
Yeah,
it would have required the perfect touch. And at that point, it still would have been probably post and back to the middle of the field.
Yeah, and First Killer would have put that one away. Can't blame him too much there as G2 find themselves down. FaZe once again into the lead here in this series, becoming more and more of a theme for them. Confidence building. Games being taken off of the Kings of North America currently. FaZe trying to take that crown.
Oh, that was a nice pass, a nice block by Atomic, but First Killer was hiding in net, waiting to make the save. Ground pinch pass to the middle.
Oh, man.
Chicago to Atomic on the outlet pass, a 1-2 play, but Typical stops it.
It's incredible the counter that you just saw there, too. In 3 seconds, First has a pinch across the G2 line, and then Atomic shooting on FaZe's net. Crazy counter, and just options that are given over to G2 to make that happen.
Now the net was open, but First Killer wasn't able to put it on target. Low boost situation. And we've really seen Atomic be the shooter in those quick counterattack plays. And there's a miss from Atomic, but Atomic!
No way!
Squishy shit! He squishy saves it!
That is incredible from Atomic, but really just par for the course for him, as he's made so many of those saves going in and out. My goodness, G2 able to turn away a second one from FaZe, and this one, an awkward one for G2 to get a hold of. The shot on target. This time Atomic can't make the save. Typical doubles up.
Oh, there's the double commit. This time out of G2, throws him out of position, and it's the shooter, Typical, who puts that second goal in for FaZe. Now FaZe starting to find their rhythm. And, you know, I didn't know what to make of Achieves swapping his pick, but maybe he just knew.
he can be big-brained like that, for sure. He knew something that maybe the rest of us didn't. That's a great shot, though, off the post. Atomic trying to just paint the corners there. Now First Killer
bump
going all the way. Wanted the bump, but Atomic makes another goal line save. FaZe still difficult here to deal with on offense. Typical going to go all the way. Chicago somehow denies it as well. And G2 hanging on by a thread. FaZe making that defense look weak at the moment.
And First Killer, I mean, he was air dribbling that ball. Instead of going for the bump, it looked like he actually wanted to slow the ball down, change the speed to throw off the defense, and it almost beat G2. G2, they've been playing defense most of this game.
And we would be shocked to be saying that now after seeing the first series. But FaZe, again, you have to give them credit. They've really turned this series around, turned this grand finals around, and they have looked just the stronger team now here in this series and in this game in particular. Here's Chicago as JNap's gets in the way on the bump. It was turned away in the end. The FaZe Clan defense trying to get a hold of this ball and get out as they do so, and G2 racing back now.
And it's in. It's just in from First Killer. Typical banging that out, and First Killer sailing it. G2 knew they had to score, committing a lot of resources on offense, leaving that back line open, and FaZe will be moving to match point if they can hold on for just 49 more seconds.
A dominant performance here, and this time, though, 3 goals on the 9 shots that they've taken, and maybe a 10th one coming. AJ, he might put it away, drops it down. Atomic still makes the save as G2 making the toughest saves in this game, yet still can't find the back of the net on the FaZe side.
You got to give Atomic some credit for these stops. But at the end of the day, Doesn't matter how many times you save it. If you can't manage to score, you'll never win. And G2 shut out. FaZe buttoning up that defense and finding their rhythm on offense. His first killer puts in the fourth for FaZe. Only 11 seconds left. This one is in the bag for FaZe Clan.
Boy, oh boy, FaZe looking dominant here in game 4. A 4-0 victory pending this 11 seconds. And for G2, surely going to need a second to think about this one, as the script has been flipped. It's changed. G2, they thought they were cruising to a win, but it's FaZe Clan right now that have put them on match point.
And Corelli, they'll get more than a second. They'll get at least a minute, as G2 will be calling a Nissan tactical timeout, most surely. But let's take a look at the stats first. First killer, 2 goals, but everyone involved. Typical, AJ all scoring 3 assists from Typical.
Is that 18 touches from JNaps? 18? That's got to be one of the lowest I've seen.
Can't be. Is that
right?
I have no idea. That is,
18 touches on the ball from JNaps there.
You don't see sub 20 very often.
No.
But it was FaZe Clan playing keep away.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think that was a great game from anyone on G2. I didn't mean to single out JNaps there, but yeah, that's all credit to FaZe. I mean, just offensively, they looked the better team. Even defensively, I mean, FaZe, they're not really known for their defense, but for the most part, it was pretty good from them. They shut down a lot from what G2 had to offer. I mean, G2, again, still had 7 shots in that game, and FaZe were able to turn them away. So, again, I want to sing the FaZe praises here because it was not pretty in that first series, and they have turned things around here in this second series.
They certainly have, and the passing was beautiful. Just thinking back to that typical touch, he's on the sidewall. He touches it up to where he can now wrap up the ceiling and pass it right back down to AJ. And that play was so gorgeous. And we've seen some gorgeous passes from FaZe, but the shot was what was lacking, not so much in this series. FaZe is making it work. They're finding those lanes, finding those shots. And this Nissan tactical timeout from G2, they're going to hope that they can figure some things out, make some adjustments, because the G2 that we saw in the first series looked unstoppable, Corelli.
Yeah. Again, I had mentioned it a couple times. I had just said the phrase, I mean, what can you do? What can you do with the way G2 was playing? And now I think I could say it the other way. I mean, with the way the shots have been coming through from FaZe, just looking at some of these replays, those setups are now paying off for FaZe. Another great pass. I mean, look at these passes off the back wall. Excellent from FaZe, leading each other onto the ball. Great strikes behind it as well. And that was not the same. They had a lot of weak shots coming out from FaZe. Shots that were straight at defenders, easy saves for G2. And so for FaZe Clan, a much better series so far as we come out of the timeout here. G2 backs against the wall, trying to sweep North America in this spring split. It comes down to this game to stay alive. FaZe trying to write the final chapter here for the regular season in North America.
That could be a strong start. Typical infield to first killer. First killer couldn't take the shot. The passing still the idea. Atomic, though, will have a free backboard, but hits it wide.
Good looks from both sides, really, here. As JNaps, he did his work, and he'll come out. These great rotations come out from G2. First killer almost pre-jumped that clear, but JNaps will beat 2 to the ball. As now AJ dangerous from this position. First killer wanted the bump, but it didn't come through.
That is fearlessness from FaZe. AJ air dribbling it, and first killer deciding, oh, I'll just go for the bump. If that fails, you leave your teammate in a numbers disadvantage situation. That last player back. But FaZe has been so aggressive. It's been working out for him. And there's the shot, and that was open. Oh! The rebound doesn't find the net either. And FaZe, this is kind of like what we saw before. FaZe having looks. G2 escaping barely with their life and then scoring on the counter.
The outside of the net, escaping FaZe. And quickly on the counter, as you mentioned, James, Chicago there to get the dunk. And G2, the defense paying off there. And you know they're quick to counter in that fashion. And a 1-0 lead now for G2.
Shot is on target, but that's saved by Chicago. Another infield pass. Block attempt. AJ got 2 demos, but even that's not enough to break down the G2 defense. Nice first touch from AJ. Going for the air dribble block on the goal line, and it's cleared out. AJ having options there. Fortunately, or unfortunately for FaZe, it didn't work out for him. And JNaps, a risky touch off the elbow and out.
Not what he wanted, but it paid off. It did get him out. And now G2 hunting Atomic. Great touch here as he tries to get back down, and a little bouncer to delay the counter and possession from FaZe as everyone gets back. A monster flip reset from First Killer, but Atomic comes and saves the day as he doesn't connect on the clear. But G2 are able to get out.
AJ couldn't get the infield pass. First Killer was waiting. And now JNaps beating First Killer to the ball. AJ over his shoulder, weak hit, gives up possession. Atomic shoots, It's high, and Typical will hit it off to the side, but gets demoed. Space now for G2. JNaps looking for the backboard. Atomic, first touch, getting behind it, late flick, pass to JNaps, and that shot will go wide. But JNaps, he's hustling, and the shot comes out from Chicago. The play was kept alive by that hustle from JNaps.
And look at this ball pop out. Look how much time and space G2 have to run on top of this one. Chicago came for the midfield line behind it and just kind of like moseyed on up to it with no one to challenge. He'll take a quality shot. 2 for 2 once again here for G2 as Chicago. An easy shot for him every time. And FaZe just allowing that to happen. Now Atomic sacrifices or kills First Killer, takes him out of the game, and prevents the shot from going through.
How close was that? All I saw was smoke, but it looked like First Killer might have been in a position to take that shot. Atomic perhaps saving it at the last moment, but ultimately it doesn't matter. First Killer comes back into the game and gets the goal.
And we've been talking about FaZe and their shooting, and it has gone up between these two series as First Killer knocks that one down. Series 1, FaZe were shooting 18% here in Series 2, 25%. That's a 40% increase for FaZe here against G2 between the two series.
And it has been a tale of two series for FaZe. If anyone's just joining us now, FaZe were swept in the first series. It didn't look competitive at all, really, with how well G2 was playing. But Series 2 has been a different game, except
that one's open.
For this one, Game 5, all in favor of G2, a wide open net. And it's the same thing that we've been seeing a lot in this series. Atomic gets the outlet pass, shoots long range, and finds its way.
Yeah, I was going to say, guess who on the outlet pass? It's always Atomic. He's the first man out of the play defensively, and a lot of times will leave G2 in a 2v3 situation, trusting his teammates to win the challenge and push it to him downfield. And it's paid off so much for G2, not even just in this series or the previous one, but in all of their series that they've played here in North America. That outlet pass has paid off. Now Chicago with the bump. JNaps comes through with the shot, and it's a 4-1 scoreline for G2.
That was a savage bump. AJ was helpless. AJ thinks, I'll just tip this off to the side. Chicago had other plans. G2 crushing FaZe Clan in this one late, but maybe FaZe can get something going. First Killer, flip reset, going for the dunk. And we've seen some back and forth. FaZe, at times this series, blowing out G2. Now G2 having a stellar game.
And the right time for G2 to start playing well. FaZe, we're looking to run away with this series in dominant fashion. But as you said, I do think G2's really turned it around here. And again, I think the pace of play slowed down just a little bit into that very comfortable zone for G2, where they're able to just kind of pick apart FaZe. You've seen that a couple times on the offensive front. It's AJ just narrowly avoiding the JNaps demo. A lot of trust here from Atomic to push this one away. Typical will cut it off, and FaZe pushing in the final 20 seconds. Down by 3, maybe down by 4. Atomic wants to take the challenge, and AJ will deny.
Chicago, maybe one for the road. No. FaZe have 3 defenders there at the near post to make sure that that doesn't go in. First killer trying to keep the ball alive, but it won't matter. G2 ultimately end up taking game 5, and now we're going into game 6. Corelli, we've seen FaZe on fire. We've seen them cool off. What FaZe will we see in game 6?
I wish I could tell you exactly, James, but that one's above my pay grade. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to see from FaZe, because we've seen kind of 2 sides from them, even in the series, even game to game. I would like to say that we see the FaZe that we saw the previous games, where they were attacking the net, where the shots were away from defenders. The passes were connecting perfectly. That was the FaZe that was winning this series, and that's the FaZe that they've got to go back to. And right now, I think for G2, G2 just haven't let them do that. G2, again, have controlled the game in the way that they want, and that's very tough for FaZe to break out of.
It certainly is. And you got Chicago as well being a bully. That bump on AJ coming off the backboard. We haven't seen a ton of physical plays from G2. We've seen a lot of demos from FaZe Clan, or at least ones that come to recent memory. But that bump, will we see more of that physical gameplay from G2? Will we see more counterattacks? Will FaZe Clan be able to put together some of these passing plays like we've seen them do before? FaZe a chance to win it all here and now on Neo Tokyo.
Uh-oh. Oh, yep. I can feel that one coming, James. Yeah, I said uh-oh for a reason.
Oh, JNABs, the double tap. It's just so pretty. It's just so pretty. The way he gracefully flies through the air. A masterful shot. JNABs, that was gorgeous.
I mean, that's one of those, you see a setup like that, really for almost any pro player, but for a player like JNAPS in particular, it's what in the world is that pass from JNAPS to Chicago? Trying to sing his praises for the shot, but look at the pass now. Perfectly on the Chicago head, and then flicks it on.
92 miles an hour on that skip shot from Chicago. A crazy fast shot. But like you said, a nice pass as well.
Here comes another one. Chicago plays that one across. AJ let it bounce. Trusted that G2 didn't want to commit too hard on that one as the counterattack's on. As nobody connecting here from G2. They're able to recover as FaZe weren't there to make them pay.
It's like synchronized swimmers there for a moment, but both missing the ball. G2, despite that double commit and the miss, FaZe wasn't in position to punish. First killer will go for the backboard, and
got it.
Typical will dunk it down and in the net. Typical has been scoring a lot this series, and it's good for FaZe that he's getting involved now.
Tough read there from Typical. Used all of his boost. As soon as he got to that ball, he was out of boost. It had to be perfect, and a great shot from him in follow-up. FaZe on the board, able to cut the lead in half. Here just past the first minute.
And that was a tough read indeed, like you pointed out, Corelli. When you're coming across the ball like that, it's bouncing hard off the backboard. That is not a gimme. Well played by Typical. First killer.
Go again. I mean, with G2, especially in this game, the shots they've been able to put away. This one's dangerous. Typical's late. No one there from G2 to punish.
Infield pass attempt, but now the passing from G2. Atomic will take this shot. Who's taking the shot? That's what's running through FaZe's head. JNABs to Chicago. You see him hitting it right back towards JNABs.
And I was watching that one from the FaZe defender's POV, and everyone was fooled because no one knew if it was going to be JNABs again, because it was this weird tweener ball between him and Atomic. And then Atomic come barreling through. Everyone shifted to the left, and Atomic put it to their right. Perfectly slotted, perfectly placed. G2 back up by 2.
And to make matters worse, you got JNABs barreling in for a bump and a demo on you. And that certainly complicates the defensive situation for FaZe, who find themselves trailing by 2, but plenty of game left. A quick shot from First Killer. That's denied. First Killer's second effort after the boost steal gets the other corner boost as well. perhaps a short-term boost advantage, but JNAPS,
Atomic got full boost.
all the rebound in front of net. Atomic coming off the backboard as well has been a pain, but now the block from First Killer, the demo as well, but Typical gets taken out.
Great payback there from Atomic. Chicago was removed, and so Atomic will make sure that FaZe are also down a player.
Tit for tat.
And it certainly worked out there. Slowed down FaZe tremendously. Just past halftime. FaZe, plenty of time left on the clock to make something happen here. First Killer making everyone dance, and it's a great pass again, and Typical strikes the shooting through the roof for him now as FaZe are clicking.
Ah, you love the creativity from First Killer, faking the flick, getting control of the ball, passing it over, and Typical has been the precision shooter for FaZe and comes through there, but that pass was something else.
Wow. And they're going to need more of that. Again, plenty of time. 2 minutes left on the clock. Just over. They create so many chances, this FaZe team does. And here comes one to Typical. Having a breakthrough moment here for FaZe in this series when they need him most. Dangerous ball as AJ's trying to get the block. Not going to happen. Great flick on from G2. Chicago, uncontested, places it to the left side. G2 up by 2 once again.
And these little skip touches from G2 at the midfield have been brutal for FaZe to deal with. First Killer on empty. All he could do is try that squishy save and hope that he guesses the right spot. But that little touch from JNAPS put everything in a tough spot for FaZe, and an open net, but First Killer pushes it wide. FaZe having a tough ending to Game 6.
Need something to drop if you're FaZe. A Game 7 would be scary with the way G2 has turned it up in the back half of the series.
Air dribble play. AJ will have it pinch wide. Atomic with the demo. Typical gets one on JNAPS. Is the net open? AJ tromboning. It is in time, but Atomic gets the read. Chicago couldn't get the rebound. The net was wide open. A chance for one more. Chicago not able to do it. We'll see if that's enough of an opening for FaZe to get back in this one.
A minute to play. FaZe need one now. Typical doesn't get the touch. First Killer. Everyone went from FaZe and also from G2 as well. Everyone panicking. A pass down to AJ. Cuts the cross. The shot's wide. Typical with no boost. Pass back to AJ. Over to First Killer, but that one's wide as well. It's not going to drop for FaZe. It was perfectly set up, and then they're scored on the counter by G2.
And First Killer, after that ball goes in, he just dropped his controller. No inputs, no nothing. First Killer had the shot. That passing setup from FaZe, it was perfect. Another great setup. It was a perfect setup.
2 of them were perfect. They had 2 great looks, and now they're going to get one back. AJ with 36 seconds left. Down by 2 for FaZe, finally getting one to drop. But a great pass from Typical.
Is it too little too late, though, Corelli?
I think there's just barely enough time, James. If they can get a quick one here, there's just barely enough time. It's not going to be easy.
A nice pick off, and it does find its way over to First Killer, who got the mid boost. Gets his feet back under him, heads towards net. Atomic, all he could do to keep it out. AJ with the block, Typical in a foot race. But he gets denied. And now JNAPS will take the shot. Time melting off the clock. And if First Killer hits that shot that we saw moments ago, the G2 counterattack never happens. Maybe FaZe ends up getting back into Game 6.
Yep.
But that play there, again, it was the shooting. It has improved for FaZe, but they needed that one there.
Game 7 will go, James. And the records between these two teams in Game 7, 5-3, a 62% win percentage for FaZe, 4-6 for G2, 40% in Game 7s. And that's not really to say that those will apply here, but that's just history at the moment. G2 certainly looking better than FaZe at the moment.
I mean, you just look at G2's record for the times they've won these regional events in the spring split, and it's something around 100%.
Something like that. I think you got that one right. And for good reason. You see the play that they've put out. and the resolve that this team has had, even the previous series when we saw them play earlier against Space Station. Space Station, they had better looks at times from G2 in those games, but G2 just went to a different level. And that's, I think, what's kind of happening here as well. G2, they cranked it up a notch here in the second series, where I think FaZe were kind of blowing them out for a little while. They had the biggest margin of victory so far between the two series in just a couple games ago. But G2 somehow are able to just regroup and come back into these games.
They really are. And it's that midfield play, those midfield touches that are really catching FaZe out. You saw the one touch from JNaps, the skip shot from Chicago. Those plays at the midfield are helping get G2 over that hump. But FaZe are still opening up the field with the passes. It's just that the shooting percentage woes rearing its ugly head once more for FaZe. And we'll see if it's a different story here in Game 7. Corelli, we're going to be going to Champions Field. This is what every Rocket League fan hopes for when you watch these grand finals, is that it goes the distance between teams that are playing the best that we've seen them play all tournament long. And here we have it. Game 7, presented by Nissan. Will FaZe Clan start the regionals with a win and end it with a win, or will G2 be able to sweep the spring split? We find out now.
The Nissan Classic definitely shaping up to be a classic here between G2 and FaZe. It's been back and forth. FaZe has gotten the better of G2 earlier on the bracket. G2's come roaring back. And now a final game. Can G2 sweep North America? Can they win 3 regionals in a row? Or do FaZe finally get their second of the season?
JNaps, first touch. It pops up for Chicago. Infield pass to Atomic. Atomic off the ceiling. AJ, first touch, catches it into an air dribble. JNaps kicking it in reverse, and it does find its way over to Chicago with full boost. Chicago with the mid boost as well. The block, the dunk, it rolls the distance.
Wow.
Typical cutting off the play, and that was an unexpected first goal of Game 7.
Boy, he just went straight into that challenge. Could not have hit that ball any more square against Chicago. And the help was Chicago being on the right side of the ball. That put it towards the net of G2. And a 1-0 lead here in the first minute for FaZe, and a welcomed one.
Chicago gets that ball up to JNaps, but gets beat to the ball there. Atomic with plenty of time to think about this touch, and it gets away. And
what a pass.
First killer denied by JNaps. Rebound is
there.
Good.
It is.
FaZe's passing proves to be too much, but AJ a critical rebound cleanup.
And that was just a great save from JNaps initially, but the follow-up was there for FaZe. And a dangerous shot put on by AJ is exactly what they needed. If the first shot doesn't go through, fine. But when FaZe starts stacking them up, you've got to break through. And it was crucial for AJ to put that one away.
AJ. That goal, massive. FaZe now find themselves ahead by 2. JNaps tries to cut the lead down to 1, and he does so. G2 back in it.
Great finesse here from JNaps. First killer, he was just so late going for it, and he didn't have a ton of boost, but just didn't react in time, and great placement there from JNaps. Down on the way, kept it near post.
You saw Atomic was right there, and you might have been thinking Atomic may get a touch there. I think that also slowed him down on top of the boost troubles. JNaps. High pop. First killer. Over to Sipical. Sipical crossing it across the field. Sipical again. Seen him take it the full field unassisted before. Trying to march it downfield yet again. JNaps up to Atomic. Atomic towards net. First killer streaking back and will get the save.
What a shot from Atomic. That's one that will catch out a defense every once in a while. First killer. Too good to let that one in. As a clear comes out from FaZe, Atomic trying to keep it awkward. Chicago called upon. Blinded by the demo. AJ can't get a read, and Atomic to put it home.
Throw the smoke grenade right there. Atomic. He throws at AJ. He can't see anything. And then the ball flies through the smoke into the back of the net. G2 tying it up in fashion.
The lead is gone. FaZe with the quick start here in Game 7. G2 not going to let it be easy for FaZe. And G2 looking for a third here. A follow-up from JNAP's back post shot. His first killer takes it off the backboard.
Typical sees first killer in the corner, but Chicago not going to let the ball get there. Other touch throwing off AJ. JNAP's an atomic. The air dribble pass. And the shot doesn't come out. Wave dash by G2 will allow for the corner boost steal.
Oh my.
Awkward ball, though.
What is happening?
Confusion on both teams, it looked like.
I'm just as confused. Everyone in this lobby is confused what was going on there. Nobody getting the read. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day. G2 still holding on the pressure. As FaZe, they've really only been able to have these lobbed balls, but this is a bit of a blunder there from Atomic to let that one out. And now Typical trying to make the difference, trying to go all the way, and it's Chicago to turn him down.
And I think Chicago got bumped back into that ball after the air dribble attempt and still ended up hitting that out. Crazy series there of events. First killer flip reset, pass off the backboard, the boom, down to JNAPS. JNAPS off the bounce on the ground, takes the shot. AJ manages it well. No boost anywhere seemingly for G2, but JNAPS still punting it downfield. And there's a bump, backboard pass, typical, tough read, weak hit, will land with possession.
60 seconds left on the clock.
Tense here for FaZe. Opportunities. And this time G2 slow to attack. First killer gets Typical go.
Commit.
AJ gonna go as well. He picked up full boost and a good challenge there will at least delay G2 from getting out. Now Typical, space, flicks over one. Chicago to turn it away. His second save of this game, 40 seconds left, and FaZe trying to lock down the midfield. First killer, off the back wall, it's too hard. Typical's there on the shot. Chicago not the best clear, as G2 very slowly want to take this one out.
Atomic popping it high, first killer to Chicago now. First killer trying to skip that upfield. JNAPS against AJ. AJ to the side. Atomic down to the ground. Pass first killer to pinch that goes downfield. AJ will punt it right back up. It's right to JNAPS off the ceiling double. JNAPS with the 50.
Whoa.
Ball loose in front of net. Atomic self pass off the corner will pop it high, and AJ will be first to it. Typical, the shot. That one's no good. And we're going to overtime.
Typical almost placed that one in 0 second time. But a Game 7 overtime. It has to be this way, James.
And I wouldn't have it any other way, Corelli. Atomic getting to the ball quickly and wins that challenge. JNAP's up fast. There's a missed challenge. First killer didn't want Atomic to have a touch on the ball, but Atomic collects anyway. Infield pass broken up by first killer. Typical high hit. Chicago hits it to safety. JNAP's controlling it in the air. Out of boost now. First killer picking up the corner. Pinch from JNAP's will send it to the opposite FaZe corner. Chicago off the backboard. Atomic does get the mid boost. Had to camp out for a while. First killer, awkward ball.
Whoa,
Rebound to Atomic. Atomic sends it wide. And AJ able to clear this out.
I'm curious if Atomic really wanted the pass there. He just went too far, but AJ flipped reset, didn't get it. FaZe threatening. The good clear comes out from G2. AJ, his opportunity is cut out by Atomic, but AJ looking for two. AJ's got it. FaZe coming out on top in Game 7.
FaZe bring it back full circle. They won the first regional of the year, and they've won the last regional as well. Here at the Nissan Classic, it's proved to be an instant classic, as you said, Corelli. And that shot from AJ, beautiful. The first touch on the wall, bringing it into an air dribble, control the whole way through.
Wow.
Fireworks in Game 7. What a way to end it.
Incredible ending for FaZe. So many trials here against G2. When you go back and you look at these games, game for game in these series, just across the board, It's been up. It's been down. It's been sideways. It was upside down at some point for FaZe, but they battled back. They are truly looking to be serious contenders coming out from North America, finally taking down G2, dethroning them here in the spring split. FaZe, they're the real deal.
They are the real deal, Corelli. And the thing that frightens me, and should frighten anyone out there who has to play at the spring major, is that I don't even think FaZe was playing at their peak.
No.
You saw how many chances they had that they did not put through. If FaZe can find that extra little bit of polish where they're hitting all those shots, or at least putting more shots on target, this FaZe team could be a super team, Corelli.
They look like it. I mean, let's just be honest. They look like it. And if they, like you said, just clean up those shots, clean up the conversion, they're going to be serious contenders at this major.
And Corelli, I didn't believe it when I heard Achieves flip his pick to FaZe. Didn't know what he was thinking, but obviously he had something in mind, a man of brilliance. We have to hear from Achieves and the desk on what they have to say about this last series.
Congratulations on the Nissan Classic championship crown here, First Killer.
Thank you, Leaf.
I gotta ask you, just for the team at the end there, was there an explosion of emotion in comms right afterwards? Because this was a big match. You guys hadn't won one since the first regional, and now getting this and having it clinch so many spots. How was the emotion after?
We were super happy because it's our first regional win as a team, since picking up Typical, and we were just so happy to finally also beat G2, because they've been winning every regional and major.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just unreal experience.
So first, I got to talk about, that first series was 4-0. Then you guys have about 10 minutes to cool down. What did you guys do during that 10 minutes to get ready for this final series?
I stayed in training the whole time, and then we just also talked about saying that we know how to beat them, and it's just we're getting in our own heads, and basically we're just beating ourselves, and we just needed to play our game and just do what we know what to do and what we do in scrims and practice. And we knew that if we did that, we could take it home.
So when you say you knew how to beat them, what were you seeing out of G2's play that's that's the answer?
Most of the time, G2 they're really counterattack team, and they do it really fast. So most of the time you just have to sit in midfield and just cut off that pass and just keep them under pressure, because they'll crack under eventually. So just keep don't try to force a goal, basically. Just keep the pressure, and eventually you'll score.
Well, with all that said, in the regionals in the rear view mirror, now we can look forward to the major. And it seems like you guys have G2 figured out at the perfect time. Now, I think what everyone out there is wondering, now, obviously, I know you're going to say you guys can compete, but do you guys feel as though BDS is as big of a threat as everyone else thinks that they are?
I think they're really good, obviously, but I don't think they're a clear best. I think us, G2, and them were kind of close, in terms of
Potential.
Yeah, potential. Exactly.
Yeah. Do you think you guys hold the edge in terms of mechanics over them, especially with the pickup of Seiko?
I think we're pretty even when it comes to mechanics. That's pretty even.
Too humble. You're too humble. Too humble.
Well, I mean, this is the point. You guys finally won it. You haven't been able to have a stage like this to speak out. You just won, so you've earned the right to talk uninterrupted. So the floor is yours for whatever you want to say.
Just gonna shout out to my family, friends, and obviously my teammates and fans, of course.
Keeping it simple, nice. Keep it focused. Well, again, a lot of big Rocket League coming for you guys in the next couple months here. So congratulations on winning the Nissan Classic, and good luck in those matches.
Thank you.